continue our discussion now of how to leverage artificial intelligence to cut down on our planning time. Now, there are other texts that we may want students to look at, to read. These might be texts in the Research Center, for example, that relate back to the content that's being taught. Some of that text may be written well above students' reading level, especially specific students in your classroom who are at differing proficiency levels or who have different skills in reading. How then can we leverage AI to help students to read that text? We can put that text into a chatbot. You can ask the chatbot, for example, to give 3 to 5 or more bullet points summarizing the key ideas from this particular piece of text. You could also ask it to rewrite the text at differing levels. If you're reading a 4th grade text, for example, but you have a student reading at the 2nd grade level, you might say, rewrite this text so that it's accessible to a 2nd grader. This way the students can still read about that content, but the text is more appropriate to their ability. You can also add some adjustments in there when you're asking a chatbot to rewrite a piece of text. For example, you might say, rewrite this in the form of a children's book and provide suggestions of visuals that would go with it. This way it makes the text more interesting or more accessible to some students. You could even ask a chatbot to create some decodable text on a particular topic, given the sound spelling patterns that students already know. So for example, you're working at the 1st grade level and students have learned some specific sound spelling patterns. You can ask to embed those into a piece of text. But have the text be around content that you are learning in the classroom in science and social studies or in another content area. This way, students can decode the text, can access the text, can practice reading while they're still learning about the content. You can also ask a chatbot to create some comprehension questions that are related to a piece of text that you are utilizing. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a piece of written text. It could be a visual text as well. It could be just about anything. Take a picture, for example, ask some guiding questions for students. The chatbot will create a variety of questions based on your prompts. Remember, you can always ask it to revise those questions, ask additional questions, ask questions about a specific topic, etc. The more context we can build in, the higher the quality of questions that we're going to get. This way, we can have some comprehension questions for students based on our input charts, based on the expert groups, based on resources in our research center, on just about anything. Sometimes those questions are provided with resources that we have, but many times they're not. Now this is a choice. If you want to build in some questions here, you could use multiple choice questions, open-ended questions, build in higher order thinking, all kinds of different things. It really depends on you, what your goals are, and what your objectives are.
Let's create a multiple choice assessment.
The first step is deciding the purpose of the assessment. Is this a formative assessment that you plan to use during the lesson, or do you want a summative assessment for your students to have at the end of the unit of study?
So here you can select your grade level and the number of questions that you want in your test.
Step number 2, insert your target objectives or grade level standards covered in the unit. Make sure to include the specific standards or objectives that align with the unit of study.
Be as specific as you can be here. The more specific you get, the better.
You can also add in specific classroom lessons, such as a process grid, which often has grade level examples and content that has been taught throughout the unit of study. To do this, take a screenshot or save your process grid as an image and then upload it into the chatbot, along with any other classroom examples or lessons that you have. And this will make it so the assessments that are being generated are more accurate to what was actually being taught in the classroom. Step number 3 is to hit generate. The platform will create multiple choice questions aligned with your standards or whatever content you inputted into the chatbot. You'll notice that the answer key is automatically provided for the generated questions. If you'd like to have a variety of questions, this is also where you can make adjustments. For examples, you might want to include something like short answer questions or true or false questions. Simply add these preferences into the chatbot. You can review and revise the generated questions by going back and forth with the AI platform as needed until you're satisfied. You can even ask the AI to create additional questions or specific examples or concepts from the unit of study that you want to go more in depth into. For example, if you want there to be more questions on the pictorial input chart, specify that here. AI tools like Magic School AI can help teachers save time and create assessments more efficiently, allowing them to focus more on instruction and student engagement.